Kim here. Who else would it be? This is the Bitcoin brief for June 23rd. Hope you've had a good weekend. You probably didn't if you're looking at price action purely. Did not have the best weekend with price action. A lot of also things going on in the news. I'm not really going to talk about that. I'm not an expert at that, and also I don't really look at news when it pertains to trading. I know that I'm in a very decreasing minority at that point. Don't really care. I you know it's uh, I've said plenty of things about that, and this weekend honestly just kind of reinforces that stance that I take. And so maybe I'll talk about it in another video, whatever. But for this video, hence the brief part, we're gonna make this quick, about 5-6 minutes total. We're gonna cover about Bitcoin for about half of this video. Then we're gonna cover Ethereum and Solana. If you want a longer video, Observations with Otsu is coming out later on today, where I cover the weekly time frames. I'm also going to cover 2-week and 3-week charts today, in addition to other assets like DXY and the S&P 500. I'm also going to look at Circle, because Circle has launched on stocks as well, and that's also a growing trend, by the way, where there's a lot of stock assets that are very heavily invested in Bitcoin, which we'll also talk about in another video. So a lot of other things going on, but right now just Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana here. And also, I do have Apex Academy. I'm getting ready to launch here pretty soon. Go ahead and look for that in an announcement. That's going to be on X, Twitter, and Discord. It'll be on both of those platforms. So let's get started here. So for Bitcoin, the big thing I want you to know here on the weekly is that we deviated here below this level. This is actually present on the 1-week, 2-week, and 3-week chart. This is a very big deal. To me, this is a complete no-go for the entire market. I'm not interested in longs. I am very consciously debating selling all of my Bitcoin right now. This could be a cycle top scenario. Very well could be. I think there are reasons to believe that it's not, which I'll cover in Observations with Otsu. But for right now, when you had a monthly breakout or a top breakout like this and a comeback down for a deviation, that's a very critical thing, okay? And we don't really get that on the 3-week chart, especially unless it is a top, okay? Every time that we've had a bearish divergence on the 3-week with a deviation, it's always been a cycle top. Now, hopefully this is different in that way. So we'll see how that goes. Again, way more coverage and Observations with O2. That's a long form video. I'll take as long as I need to cover that. Here, this is just a quick snippet. And so this really looks like here. Okay, now that we are below this level, we need to get back above that first. And I know that sounds silly, like, oh, we got to go up if we're, to go up even higher. Yes, I understand, but deviations are very strong. We need to recover this, because now this is weighed against the bulls. Okay, the bulls had a chance. They had a breakout. They lost it. And now the bears are back in control. And I don't think people really understand this. I think a lot of people are. It's really the sentiment here is really crazy, because a lot of people are fearful, but they're not bearish. If that makes sense. This is like one of the first times I've seen where people are fearful, but they're not really like bearish. They still think that we're going to stay here, like 97, 98,000, whatever. And we'll see how that goes. As far as targets go, you got a mid-level target here about 98.8. We touched that briefly yesterday. If that fails, we're looking at like 93, a little bit less than 93.4. So like 93.3 and a half. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at for an interim target, probably sometime in July. I think that we can go lower than that. Actually, I don't think people really understand the nature of how strong a 3-week chart divergence is going to be. Even on the 1-week, this looks kind of bleak here, and this will take some time to play out. The end of June, or for the rest of June, July, August are going to be very depressing. They're going to be very hard months to get through. Okay, they're going to be very hard months to get through. You're going, and the reaction is you are going to want to quit, or you are going to want to not log into the charts every day, and that's exactly what's going to end up causing you not to get into good positions, because you don't want to just, in my experience, if you're full-time trading or you're really into trading, like you log in every day or close to it, You don't want to just give up when the market sucks. Like, you don't want to be a fair weather fan. You really want to see the opportunities, and when things come down, yes, it's depressing, yes, it's sad, yes, your portfolio goes down a lot of times, but it also gives opportunities, and those opportunities will help make up for that. And I've seen that plenty of times too, where I've lost pretty decent chunk of money actually, and it actually recovered because I stayed focused. And so I think that's the key thing I want you to get away from this video, is that stay the course, stay focused on this. Let's go ahead and I'll go to the daily here. So that was the weekly, right? Daily here, a little bit more choppy here. That you can see the swing order block from here is a little bit messy. Hit the mid here. This doesn't look good. We have a bearish retest, and that's the thing. Like, let's just go to like the 4-hour here, or like the 12-hour. I think would be easier. Like, when you have a push up against this zone, that's a bearish retest. I don't know why people just think we're just going to bounce and continue running. Like, bounces work perfectly into the bears' hands. Like, the bears want a bullish move right now, because that helps them refuel to more downtrend, because you need extra demand to continue the supply. Okay, you need to think of it as like oxygen to a fire. Okay, you need oxygen for a fire, right? So oxygen's good. We breathe oxygen, but oxygen also enables something like that to continue to the downside. So just be aware of that. Not every bullish move not every green move is going to be bearish. And I think that's also another takeaway from this video. So 4-hour, we did get a good bounce right here at the mid, and I think it's very interesting how it sits there on the 4-hour, because I marked this in this video on the weekly. But again, we got the bearish retest, so we still have to wait. This here is the bigger range, like 103, like 140 is about where we need to reclaim this. If we don't do that, then we're still in trouble. And I do think that if we don't do that, we'll be on the path to 33, or not 33, I hope not, 93,000 for the price. So that's pretty much Bitcoin. I think it's very frustrating, but if you're in my group, you saw this coming for a month now. So Ethereum up a little over 1% here. Had the market here. I talked about this on Twitter just an hour ago or so. You have two levels. We also talked about this in a lot of my videos. Two levels I'm really concerned about here. The 2141. I think I originally marked this at 2180. I think it was like in the middle of this. And so that's fine too. Either one. 2145 is probably much more accurate. So got that level. I think we're pretty much going to get this level because you already broke down from this order block. Okay, so this was your first order block. When we expanded it, it became, let me just redraw it just for clarity's sake. So this was your redrawn order block based off the 2 deviations. When you get 2 deviations, you expand the order block, and so this comes back down, and so now we're kind of roughly in the middle. You could actually do a mid of a mid. I've done that before. It's not the best, but it does give you an idea of where the supply and demand is in the gap, and so you can see we're rejecting that mid, and so that's another reason why I think that we're going to head downward. I do not think I don't think this is a great day at all. This is a relief bounce leading into a bearish rejection. I think so. I'm not convinced at all that we're done here. I don't care about all the war stuff, nothing like that. I'm looking at pure price action here. I don't think July is going to be doing pretty well. It'll be a bullish thing. It'll be good or a bullish thing if we break even for July. Let's put it that way. And so we'll see where that goes. And so the next level down here is about 1880 if you're interested in that. Solana, about 140 or 1.4 for today, but I do have a short open. This was actually talked about in the paid group in our Patreon, but I'm going to release it here because it's already kind of marked down. We already in profits well into that here. About 1.5 for 7.5% roughly. Looking pretty strong. We got the rejection here on the mid-level as well. Another mid-level rejection at the band. This is all going according to play. And this is interesting because Solana is up for today, but it's giving us a good reaction here to, again, continue the fuel to the downside. And so we'll see how that goes. I'm not I'm not convinced at all that this market is bullish. I'm not. And the deviations that I'll talk about in observations with Otsu on the 2-day or the 2-week, 3-week are very concerning. I think they are cycle level concerning. Nobody's talking about this. I don't think there's a lot of people that think the cycle's over. I'm not saying it is myself, but I'm very cautious here, extremely cautious, and I think people should be too. So, anyway, that being said, that's the video. Look forward to my other videos as well. Observations with Otsu, like I said, for the 5th time. If you're interested in my Patreon, I'll leave a link in the thread or in the YouTube description. And also look forward to Apex Academy. I'm going to release some details on that today and some new features from when I had Apex Academy a couple years ago. I think you'll be interested. Would love to have you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day.